G'day guys, I'm just going to give you a little guide on how to score it live for you, just to practice so you know for Friday night. You only need to worry about scoring your own team. So when they're batting, you follow the batting, and when your team's bowling, you just do their bowling. Don't worry about the other team. So let's say Frankie's on strike with Bernie first, and she scores 2 runs. So you put 2 on that first ball that she's faced. Frankie faces another ball. It's a dot ball. She stays on strike. Frankie scores 1 run for a third ball, and then that would mean Bernie's on strike because they only ran 1. Bernie faces a ball, it's a dot ball. Then Bernie faces another dot ball, and Bernie faces a wide. So Bernie would go and hit the ball off the tee, and let's say they run 2 runs. So what I do, it's a lot easier just to put the total runs in. So it's 2 runs for the wide or the no ball, plus the 2 runs that they ran, and you're putting in 4 runs altogether, instead of writing a W and then plus 2, because it's much easier to read at the end. Bernie faces another ball. She hits a 4, just a normal 4 runs out to the boundary. When I say normal 4, it's just the ball's being bowled this way, and she hits it out to the boundary out this side, okay, and that's just 4 runs. Anywhere past where the bowler's bowling from, this is called the double zone, okay, so we'll talk about that in a moment. She just hits a normal 4 out to square leg, okay, and that would mean Bernie gets another 4, okay. Next ball, she hits a big ball down the ground, and it goes over the boundary, and it's in the double zone. So it wouldn't just be 4, it'd be 8 runs. So I put 8 in the scorer sheet. And the next ball, so they face, let's say they have a change. Frankie's back on strike. She gets a no ball or a wide, so she'll get a hit off the tee. So she hit from the tees, and let's say that she hits a boundary, just a normal boundary. So that would be 4 plus the 2 runs for the no ball. So I just put a total of 6 in her next ball. Okay, so you just got to keep track of the balls there, and you'll go through the whole team, I'll go through the whole play, and when they reach the 12, it's time to stop, and we'll send the other player back out. You're going to go on. Following on from before, let's say Frankie's still on strike, and there's a wicket. So what I do for a wicket is I just put a cross in for a wicket, okay, and then the batters would change ends, just so she's not on strike for the next ball, and that would mean that Bernie's back on strike, okay, facing the ball. Bernie gets, she hits a ball, it gets a no ball, and she hits off the tees, and she hits it into the double zones. Now she hits it over the boundary on the full, so that would be a 6. But because there's double zone, that's a 12 runs, plus the 2 runs that she gets for the no ball or the wide. So it'd be 12 plus the 2. So Bernie would get that. 14 runs all up off 1 hit. Okay. And we go on dot balls. If the players facing the dot balls, when they reach their 12th ball, it changes hands. The next player. Okay. That's a little explanation about the batting and bowling. Just the batting. Okay, and you just go through the whole team. When everyone faces their 12th ball, they go out. Okay, now we're on to scoring the bowling, and Frankie start opening the bowling, and we'll mark each ball down. So the first ball is a dot ball, then she has another dot ball, then she bowls a wide, and they don't score any runs off it apart from the free hit, but they don't run, so she only get 2 runs. Then she might get a wicket, so she bowls someone out and gets a cross, okay, and there might be a run out the next ball, so you just need to mark another cross, just mark it with another cross for a wicket. The last ball, they score a double zone 4, which is an 8, and there's 8 runs there. Okay, that's the end of the over. You can see I've marked this line here just to show that that's the end of the over, because sometimes if that line's not marked in your scorebook, it won't be. I just make it a bold line. It's easy to continue on if you're not really focused or there's lots of things happening, or if you're new to scoring. End of the 6 balls that are over, then it's on to the next person who's in the field on the rotation. If you have a look here, Frankie would have been bowling. She moves off to the left. They rotate to the left, and this person is the next person to bowl. They'll move over here. And Sasha comes in to bowl. Dot ball. 3 runs. They have a hit against her. They get a no ball, and they hit a 4. So there's 6 runs altogether. Dot ball. And then we have a wicket there at the end there, which is a cross, not a W. Okay. And then what happens is you just file through all the bowlers. They rotate through. John will have his over, his 6 balls. Just keep track of each over and let the umpire know that it's over at the end if they haven't called it, because sometimes it gets busy out there. So 6 balls are up. Time to change. Yell it to the umpire. Go through your 8 players. And once your 8 players have rotated once and they've all bowled once, if you've got 8, it'll come back. The bowler will bowl first. Frank will be back there again. And then you'll be ready to mark her second over, which will be another 6 balls, which will be her 7th. So this will be a second over, and it'll be a bowl another 6 balls, and you'll mark that. Dot ball, 1 run, 3 runs, 1 run, dot ball. She bowls a wide, which ends up being just a free hit and no runs off it, so just 2 runs. And that's how you can continue to score the bowling. At the end of the bowling, you'll just mark how many runs and wickets have scored. So if you look at Frankie's, she scored 2, they've scored 2 runs off her, 8, 10, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17 runs off her bowling. And there's a cross, that's 2 wickets. So she has 2 for 17. Okay, so you'll mark this. This is great for the end of the year because the managers and coaches have to keep track of the amount of wickets and the runs they scored. And we'll talk more about this later in the year, but just need to keep track of the scorecards. I'd take a photo, or you can get the spreadsheet. Same with the batting. I would total their runs up. Okay, Frankie scored dot ball for there. She scored 6, 7, 8, 9 runs altogether. And then you total Sasha's score, and you put 5 over there, how many runs that she scored there as well. And then, even though we don't mark 5 runs off Frankie's individual total, okay, the other team will be keeping the track of how many wickets they've got. So these 2 wickets, each wicket is worth a bonus 5 runs for your team when they're bowling. So down here, let's say this person gets 1 wicket, no wickets there, 2 wickets, 1 wicket, and they're your bowlers. You've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and at the end of the game, because you've taken 6 wickets, you get 5 runs every wicket. So 6 times 5 is 30 runs, and they're the bonus runs that you add to your overall running total, which is your batting score. Might be 130 runs altogether, and then you add that other 30 there to give it a total of 160 because of the bonus 6 wickets that they got, which totaled the 30 runs. Again, I'm not going to be going to the coach after and saying we scored 160 and you scored 140. It's just a matter of what I can tell the team, and they're interested about their bowling figures and batting figures.